Welcome back to Infinite Growth Podcast. Tuko hapa, it's your host again, Kabiru M. Baruku. So now, today we're going to talk about manifestation. This is a new series that you're going to be introducing today. We're going to do like 10 episodes of discussing manifestation and different techniques. This is following all the phone calls that we're getting from TikTok and other platforms as well. People have been asking like, just stop creating short videos, create a long one. So now we're here today. Yes, so I've been on the same line of research for like the last 10 years. That is the first time that I got to like interact with that topic. But then I only came to understand it like 5 years ago, and I started applying it like 4 years ago. It has been working so good so far. So I think someone can learn something from this as well. So what is manifestation? Okay, today is the first episode of 10. So you have 9 more episodes, but now we're starting with just the first one, just basic introduction of what manifestation is. So around this topic, I think there are so many myths and misconceptions of the same, and people think just writing like a wish list, alafu boom, it happens. And that is why it's quite difficult for some people to be able to like manifest things in their life. So at this point, we're going to do like step-by-step guide on how you change the whole mindset. Yes, so we're going to do a step-by-step guide on how to come from that mindset of not understanding what really a manifestation is about and getting to understand it well enough to do not to actualize it and apply it to your life. And basically, the most basic thing that you need to understand is the fact that the human mind is divided into two. We have conscious mind and subconscious mind. So those two sections of the mind is what really defines your ability to manifest or not be able to manifest. Okay? So the first quick introduction is going to be what is that difference of conscious and subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is what you're listening to this podcast with. The way that you're able to like just listen to someone speaking or reading a book or just watching your surroundings. That is what your subconscious mind, what your conscious mind is actually being able to like observe and take in information from your surrounding. But then subconscious mind, it goes beyond. Subconscious mind is what actually makes your decisions, is what actually makes you make your daily decisions that affect your outcome in life generally. So the way it works is the fact that ever since you are born, from like 0 to like 7 years, those are period of just absorbing information without being able to like just have enough capacity in your mind to be able to like internalize and judge the information that you're receiving. So from a young age of like 0 to like 4 years, that time you're just listening to anything you are hearing and you're absorbing it deep to your subconscious mind. It is going direct. There's no sieving. Everything goes directly to your subconscious mind. So for example, if you're born in a very humble background and you grew up in poverty, of course, by default, you have to grow up with the scarcity mindset. You have to grow up with the poverty mindset. And if you are trying to like get over that poverty mindset, it will take you a while. You have to reprogram that mind for you to be able now to accept, to be able to like even move to the next stage financially or just starting life in an abundant way. Okay. So basically, we don't have so much control on what information we took in when we were kids, because of course now you don't have any decision that you're making at that point. So you grew up listening to your parents arguing about money every day. You grew up seeing for example, your mom or your big brother bargaining for every tiny thing. Kama ananunua kichungi, kuna ingine ya 10 mahali, hawezi muuzia 20 bob or 30 bob, like they keep bargaining for the small things. So that is scarcity mindset. Like even if you pay for that extra 10 shillings, I don't think utakuwa umelose pesa yako yote. Okay? But if you are used to constant bargaining, constant trying to like seeing people like they're trying to rip you off, that is basically just scarcity mindset. And if you grow around that environment, it is going to take a very long time before that section of your subconscious mind is now reprogrammed to the point that you can now officially accept the fact that you are abundant and the scarcity does not exist for you anymore. Okay. So at this point, I think you're going to start with a very brief story of how I came to start the interest on this line. Huh? So that was like a decade ago. Like 10 years ago, I came across a book that was talking about manifestation. So at this point, of course, now, like any other young person, any other teenager, you're looking to like make it big overnight, preferably. You know, nobody's willing to like wait for 5 years or 10 years. Yeah, so if you told me 10 years ago that it should take me like 10 years to like reach where I am at, I'll be like, no, that is a very long time. Hakuna haja ya could even try. But then, of course, now there's so much learning involved on the learning curve. So that particular point, after I came across manifestation, I was just trying to like manifest quick fast. Like, can I just decide that I want like this amount of money and just it comes to me like immediately? But then I tried it a number of times. Then I'm not consistent actually, so it took me a while. Nikaachana nayo. Then I came across it again like 2 years later. I read another book talking about the same thing. You know, so many books have been written on how people manifest. People manifest even extremely good health. That is when they're even struggling, when they are actually having like serious diseases and they actually heal themselves using just manifestation techniques. Then others have also managed to like come from extreme poverty to wealth. Like, how do you even do that? So I was just trying. Of course, that particular point, just trying to like make money. That is like what every young person thinks about, like a lot of money, especially if you grew up in a very humble background. Yeah. So at this point, I tried it again. I tried now the techniques. I got introduced to visualization. I'll introduce the techniques later on, but I'll just try to like, for the storytelling bit of it, I'll just mention what I came across along the way. So after that, I tried it and it wasn't really working for me. So I was like, oh, these things just like, it could be a scam. People just talk about things. People have a lot of ideas anyway. So I stopped thinking about that, just let it slide for like another like 2-3 years. The changing point was when I came into the big city. I came to Nairobi now. So in Nairobi, it's a very big city as compared to people who studied in the countryside like myself. I was in Meru University. So Meru University was a small town, so if you have something that is quite impactful, by default you become very popular very fast. But then in Meru, there are so many big people who are doing big things, so of course when you're trying to like come up, it's quite difficult. So it's a bigger city, bigger dreams, bigger goals, bigger everything. Okay. So when I came to the big city, I remember this particular time I was in Luthuli Avenue. This actually, what I'm telling right now is actually included. Is actually told in the recently released book. I'll give you guys a link. The way you can buy the book is called Zero Capital Founders. So it is the period where I was able to like experience life in a very different dimension and just see things in a very different perspective. So that day, I remember I was wearing a brown suit. It's a 3-piece suit. Of course, I was broke and I was very, very broke actually, didn't have any money. But then I was looking like I was balding as well, you know. So what I did, I sat down on a very busy street in Luthuli. There are normally these seats on the roadsides. They're like painted with graffitis. They look very amazing. They're good looking to see. So I just sat there. Everybody else was just super busy. People were wanatembea tu mbio akienda Nairobi, wakitembea mashughuli zao. So I sat there for like a few minutes just to observe and see how people operate in Nairobi. So one thing I figured is that it's a very fast-moving city. Everybody is normally so busy. People are just going places. From my perspective, everybody knows where they're going. Okay. But then I was like, at this point, I have time to sit down for more than half an hour in a very busy city. I don't know where to go. I have no clue. You know, sioni mbele ama nyuma. Unajua hiyo point that you just feel like you are so stuck in life. That is when now these ideas started coming to me. Like, how comes there are people who are extremely successful, yet there are people who are really, really struggling for like long time. and yet they're in the same city, they have like similar opportunities, they're in the same level of education. So what is the difference between these results that people get? Okay, so from afar it looks like it's quite unfair. Like people can be working hard in school, you're done with your studies, you have done quite well, then someone else has barely done as good as you, but then they are still more successful than you. So that is why now I came to start seeing the concept about vibration, okay, which is actually entirely the main thing, the core thing. For you to be able to understand manifestation, you must understand vibration. So everything that exists on this planet is vibrating at a certain frequency, okay? So anything that you have ever wanted is vibrating at a certain frequency. So if you're trying to, like, for example, manifest something like money, so that level of money that you're trying to like manifest is still a vibration. It is manifesting at a higher frequency than you're manifesting. So the question now was, how do you raise the vibration? Okay? How will you be able to raise the vibration from your level to that point where you'll be able to manifest whichever figure that you have in mind? And that was enticing to me. That was so intriguing because I was like, finally, I have found a way. I have come to like understand how these things work. And now officially I'm able to like now start at this point. Okay. So that day I went home a very happy man because I felt like I had found out something I've been like looking for the last like 5 years before. Okay. That was like 5 years ago now. So when I got home, I started now researching further about now the techniques that I had initially been introduced to, but had not really like understood. Okay. So basically what you're trying to do if you're trying to manifest what you don't have right now, people are trying constantly, like the most popular video that you have on TikTok right now, which hit like quite thousands of views, over 180,000 views actually, the last just basically like 2 weeks ago. The most popular video is how to manifest a car, okay? So people are trying to like manifest cars. The reason why it is so popular is because it was like a step-by-step guide on how you do it, okay? So we're going to discuss that also in the course of the episodes, but for now, because just doing introduction, we won't go in a particular method like so much, okay? So the key point is just to reprogram your mind. So everybody have experienced like very unique experiences in the course of time. From the time you're born to the age that you are right now, you have experienced like so many things. Some people have been traumatized, some people have like experienced like a very happy life because of a very loving family, for example. Others have experienced losses in the course of time. So there is of course there is impact in your mind. There is so much impact that affects your mind and your thinking and your perspective of life generally. Okay. So now what you're trying to do, for you to be able to like manifest anything in life generally, you have to reprogram that program that has like been built over years and years of just living on this earth. So like you have to reprogram your mind fully for you to be able to like see things in a different perspective. So at that point, we started now like trying these different techniques of just trying to see yourself in a different light, okay? Because people who believe that they are naturally lucky, they end up being very, very lucky by default. And people who believe that they are naturally very lucky, also life pain and catch and power by. And I figure that life actually does not reward suffering at all. So the moment you think that you're suffering now for you to be rewarded in the future, that is the biggest misconception that I've had over the years, because life does not care. Life does not care at all. So unless you decide yourself that you want to like make a shift in your life, there is where now things start changing in the right direction. So now how do you program your mind? Okay. So now at this point, everybody knows the level they are at in terms of finances, in terms of how they view life, in terms of their love story, in terms of how they are respected in the society. So now you're trying to like make yourself a confident person who is super respected and who is wealthy and probably can afford anything that you want in this life, okay? So if you're trying to do that, you have to change your programming completely from your initial programming to now a new programming. So like how do you get that new program now instilled into your mind. So the easiest technique that I see a lot is affirmations, which is also quite misunderstood, but this is what it means. Basically, even if you have never heard of the concept, of if you've heard about it but never really understood it, basically anything that you put after the words I am is an affirmation. So if I am confident, I am amazing, I am wealthy, that is an affirmation. And people who have that practice of saying a list of affirmations in the morning, then a list of affirmations the evening before they sleep, by default they program their mind. They reprogram their mind in the course of time, and it gives results, but then it might be a bit slow, okay? Because now kuna siku tu utakuwa unasema confident, but deep down you're feeling like, hey, man, I don't really think I'm confident because everybody scares me about kila kitu, literally. So it's you'll have like that back and forth from your mind and what you're saying. Okay, so that's why it takes a longer time for you to be able to like reprogram your mind using affirmations. But a better way of understanding it is even just receiving the words from other people. Right? So when you're a kid, if your mom used to tell you every time, you're so good looking, you look so good, you are so smart, maybe over time, you come to understand and believe so deeply that you're a very attractive person. And no one can tell you otherwise, okay? And also, if you're a kid and a guest once came to your house, like a hey, so your whole life you will believe that you have a big nose. Now, I'm not trying to compare whether you have a cute nose. No one will ever tell you that because deep down you already believe. So those are just words of affirmation that you came to like believe over the course of time. This applies to money, it applies to confidence, it applies to everything that you can think about. So now the point is now we are trying to change that. You know, situation in Tuko, and that is why anybody is at the level that they are at. Okay? So if you're trying to like grow from that, reprogramming your mind is the next step. Alright? So if affirmations won't really work for you, then you can try doing like a vision board. A vision board is like a pictorial representation of your desires and goals. Okay, so you can just do an image of like a car that you want, or just an AI generated image of you speaking publicly for you to believe that you're a good public speaker, or you can have maybe a trip to Dubai, or a photo on a plane. If you're not in a plane, you try to like manifest getting into a plane for the first time. Like you can have like a lot of pictorials representations, just photos, then print it out, then put it on your wall. And every day you see it in the morning when you wake up, before you sleep you see it as well. So in the course of like 1 year, by default, everything that you see on that vision board will have come true. We have confirmed that like a million times. We also did a video on TikTok also, and we had like so many amazing feedback on the same. Yeah, so that is not up for debate, like it is given, but you can share your thoughts as well. So there are different techniques. Today you cannot go so deep into the techniques because we're just doing the overall introduction to the topic. Okay? So basically, when you're able to like reprogram your mind and see yourself as a wealthy, successful, and confident person, by default you become that. So what people normally do actually, this has been written in the books, especially if you go through those videos of the big teachers and lecturers in the 1980s, 1970s, they all talked about that bit, even if they don't use the same term to call it, but still the same concept of manifestation. So what they really mention about is the fact that if you're trying to be a rich man, you must start behaving like a rich man. Okay, so how does a rich man behave? So a rich man, maybe from your experience, from how you saw like a rich man doing in the neighborhood, then now you believe that is what a rich man does. You start doing those practices, then by default you become that rich man. Okay. At first inakanga like ni kama story ya jambo, but when you start actively taking note of every action, okay, every action. Like for example, let me give you a simple concept of what rich people do. Almost every rich person, they give, okay? Either they give money or they give something. They just give because they have enough to give. So if you're trying to manifest something, this is normally very hard to understand, but start giving. Okay? So you start like giving people freely. Maybe you have like an extra coin or something, you just start giving people. By default, after some time, you just start receiving as well. Like it's like just unwritten rules. They're just things that exist with this planet, and if you do them, by default, you start attracting them as well. We've been talking about this for a while. So I think Kenya, people have been researching on the same for quite some time now, and people have actually come to understand the concept of manifestation, but people don't talk about it publicly. And you realize that when you create a video and it goes viral, and someone comments the same exact thing that you've been reading, like a whole explanation of exactly what you've been researching all this time. So you understand that people actually are getting work and they're getting to like learn this thing. So I kind of feel like if manifestation was actually taught in school, then by default everybody will be successful, okay, in the long run. But then that is not the case, and that is why actually I wanted to sing political sana, but that is actually how the economy works. If there are not poor people, then economy cannot actually stand on its own. So we need poor people in the society, which is terrible actually. So for you to be able to like get out of that forced cocoon, you have to by default now change your thinking, change your perspective, because the schools have taught us the same things over and over again. Like we have been taught to give more, which is good, than we receive, but also receiving is equally important as giving. But schools will always, either it's religion or schools, they'll just insist more on giving, don't receive. Okay? So one thing about giving and receiving, this is just a concept I just introduced to you guys. When you give someone something, let's say, this is a bad example actually, but Mike, assuming, usimchukulie serious, but assuming Mike have 2 girlfriends, so one of the girlfriends, unampatia gift, kama let's say it's maua ama phone, whatever you're giving her, alafu anakwambia, hey Mike, bwana mama, nika kasi iPhone 17, don't give me another phone. Zingine kama hizo usinipatie kitu kama hiyo. Flowers tag hizo vitu bana. Zinakuja zinakufa kwa 2 days. Nini sasa na mimi Mike? Then we try and give someone else girlfriend number 2, okay? Which is probably going to become the main. Sasa huyo umpatie flowers and a phone, okay? The one that you're able to like afford that to the wife. Then she's like, oh, this is so amazing. Already ashaanza kuchukua simu, ashaanza kupiga selfie now. Like she's so proud of that phone. She's so proud of those flowers. Ashachukua hiyo flower jar, ashaweka maji, ashaweka hizo flowers, ashazipulizia. Like you can see how they appreciate it. So between those 2 girlfriends, Mike, utapatia mgani next time in case utaki kupatia msee gift?
Mbona kuna appreciation?
Exactly. So you give to your second girlfriend. So now that is the same thing that happens in life. So if someone is giving you a gift, which is actually what you are taught as kids, ukipatia kitu sema usikubali. Hata ukienda kwa neighbor wenu alafu wanapika food hapo, unaambia bwana usikule kwa neighbor. Like don't receive anything. Wewe peana tu lakini usireceive. So the next time your neighbor, kama leo amekwambia bwana kuna samaki hapa na ugali, utakula? Sema mazee, inaozi niko fit. Hizo uko njaa mbaya Mike man, uko njaa. Lakini sasa unakataa hiyo food yote. When you come again next time, atakupatia food kweli. So that is how the universe also works. So if you receive something from the universe, then you appreciate it. Like for example, now you have an amazing camera, you have an amazing studio, now you love it and you appreciate it. By default, you're going to like get the next big equipment. You're going to get it like inakuja sasa multiply. Okay, so receiving is a concept that has not really been emphasized enough in our society. I don't know whether other countries are the same, but specifically in our beautiful continent, we give more than we receive. That is what we are taught. Okay, but if you're able to receive, then you'll be able to give. Like receiving actually comes first than giving. Yeah, so we have this concept that we have been taught over and over again. So we have to like reprogram our minds to now believe that actually receiving is also good. Okay, so that is why it actually takes you a very long time before you decide that yes, I am worth receiving. Yeah, yani mtu anaweza kama actually nakupatia tu maybe free money or something, and people can just give you gifts. You start now receiving more and more and more. Yeah, so basically, I think what you're going to be talking about in the course of our 10 first episodes of the manifestation series, we're going to go deeper and just discuss the techniques and discuss more details on what it all entails. Okay, and I really hope that people are going to gain something on this information. And stay tuned, guys. This is Infinite Growth Podcast. This is the manifestation series. Peace. Adios.